This is my Blackmagic Pyxis 6K, an affordable cinema camera that claims to be the world's most riggable full-frame digital film camera. I decided to put that claim to the test. This video is sponsored by Motion VFX. This year I've had a lot more opportunities to work on bigger sets and do some self-produced projects, as well as work with some awesome cinema lenses and gear. We're only halfway through the year and I've still got so many projects in the works that I can't wait to show you guys. But since I bought my Blackmagic Pyxis 6K back in March, I've been slowly piecing together and working on this handheld cinema rig build, and I think I'm finally ready to break it down for you guys. So this video is strictly the rig build that I've come up with for my Pyxis and how I plan to use it moving forward. I will be doing a full review of the Pyxis 6K as well as these Blazar Mantis anamorphic lenses, but I think I need some more time with the camera before I'm ready to do those videos. But anyway, let's not waste any more time and get into this camera rig build. So everything on this table is exactly what I used to create my handheld Pyxis 6K cinema rig build. All right, let's get started with the brains of this beautiful rig here. So we have the Blackmagic Pyxis 6K. I purchased this back in March or April. It's been a beautiful camera. I ended up going with the L mount version, and that's mostly because I wanted to have some more compatibility with different lenses. I knew I was going to be picking up some PL lenses, and then the adapter I went with was the Mofage Poco adapter here. It's pretty expensive. It's like 500 bucks, but what's really cool about it is that the back of it can change mounts. So I've got an RF mount and an E mount for this adapter here. We'll get into that, but before we start doing adapters and lenses, we've got to put a cage on this thing. So the cage that I went with, there's a couple different options out there. So some from Condor Blue and some fancier, more expensive brands out there. I actually went with the cheapest option that you can get, which is this cage from Tilta. It's basically built out of 4 different pieces. So you have a top plate, a bottom plate, and your 2 side plates, which are both NATO rails, and then you have a nice rosette airy pin adapter. This is the base plate that we're going to be using, but it's cool because you can also put a dovetail plate on the bottom here, which is something I wanted to do with this specific build. Before we get into that, let's go ahead and throw this cage on. So this piece just goes right on top, and these 4 screws, use these Allen wrenches here. I like that there's 4 points of contact, and it's not just like a single 3/8 screw or a 1/4 screw. And now we have a ton of 1/4 inch and airy pin and 3/8 and NATO rails, all to add accessories and attachments with for these little side adapters here. So these just screw in on the sides here to the cage. So now this is what the front of our cage looks like now. So now we have 2 NATO rails, a nice cold shoe right here, and we have our top and bottom plates. So now let's add our little Manfrotto plate that's going to slide into our base plate. This comes with the cage when you purchase it. Yeah, I'm sure that this camera rig is going to change quite a bit as time goes on, as I start working on more projects, and I anticipate that. In fact, I look forward to it because that means that I'm developing as a cinematographer, as a camera operator. Okay, so now we got our base plate all set. Let's go ahead and attach our power adapter. So this has a DTAP port on either side, as well as USB-C, DC in, and 2-pin power connection here. So how this goes in, you got your little adapter BPU. So you're just gonna put that into the back of your Pyxis, slide it down, and then now you can lock it in place with this thumb screw here that screws in to the back of the camera cage. And then it does have an Allen wrench attachment, which is nice so that you can come in here and kind of lock this down a little bit. Okay, so now we are V-mount compatible with this thing. No cables needed to power it. Don't have to go 2-pin to 2-pin or 2-pin to DTAP or whatever. Let's go ahead and add our SSD plate on the side. Now, I don't use SSDs all the time to record. If I know I'm gonna be recording for a really long time and doing like long takes, I'll do an SSD. Otherwise, I'm using CF Express, which I'll talk about that in a second. But I like to have this SSD plate because it's a nice way to add more accessories to the side. Yeah, so that just goes right on the side here. So we're just gonna lock in. This can also let you mount this camera vertically if you wanted to, if you're doing some social media stuff or just doing vertical content, which is much more popular in the high-end industry than you would imagine. This is the entire base. This is what's gonna support it. So this will go onto our tripod. So we'll put our tripod plate on this, and then this will allow us to slide our camera back and forth so that we can get the right balance when we're on a tripod. Okay, so now this base plate that's gonna have our 15mm rods just goes right in here, and this will just lock in like so, and then we can tighten it down. Okay, so now the dovetail just slides into the bottom. So I gotta unlock it with that latch. Kind of balanced, so you can see that this slides back and forth so that we can create balance on our tripod. You may notice in the behind the scenes that I have a different handle than I'm about to show you. This is the original handle that I bought when I first built this rig. It's a little cheap top handle from Suray. It works just fine, but this was kind of a temporary fix for what I actually wanted, which was the Hollywood top handle from Condor Blue, which I did buy, and I ordered the black version, and unfortunately Condor Blue ended up sending me the gray version, which is not the color I wanted. It threw off the entire scheme of the rig build. You're gonna spend $300 on a top handle. I want it to be the color I ordered, right? For now, this is what I'm using. Honestly, this thing is solid. It's affordable, it's basic, and it gets the job done. It has this nice rubber grip on the bottom, but I also forgot I wanted to attach this piece. So this is a 15mm rod and NATO rail that comes with the small rig follow focus system. I think you can buy this independently as well. I'm gonna put this on here, and then we'll put our top handle on that. Boom, boom, boom. So I ended up returning the Condor Blue top handle and exchanging it for the correct one, which, by the way, Condor Blue's customer service was fantastic. I bought that handle. It was not sent to me. I have no affiliation with Condor Blue whatsoever. I sent it back, and when I sent it back, it ended up being back ordered. So now I'm currently just waiting to get an email saying that the black model is on its way. And that's about it. Anyway, before we move on, let's go ahead and put our rails here. Now I know you're like, Ben, why the crap do you need rails? You've got your V-mount battery with the BPU adapter or whatever, so you're not gonna use rails for that. I use rails for lens support. I use rails for follow focus, sometimes even attaching a matte box. So I like to have rails on there no matter what. That honestly is the only reason. So like I mentioned before, this is the PL adapter from Mofage. I like that it has different mounts. It also has filter inserts that you can put. This is just the clear filter, but I also have the variable ND option. Lenses I'm currently using for this build, I've got a bunch of different lenses I like to use from Suray and other options, but I've been using the Blazar Mantises quite a bit lately. I got these in about a month ago. But yeah, these lenses have been absolutely beautiful to shoot with so far. I'm so excited to do some more projects with them, and I love the anamorphic look. I will be doing a full review of these lenses, so stay tuned for that. All right, we're gonna put the 35mm lens on this rig. I will say that the rotation of the PL adapter is really, really smooth, and it locks in nice and clean. They clear it just fine. Okay, let's go ahead with the side handle. Now, I've got two different types of handles here that I like to use. These Suray handles are like 20 bucks. They are some of my favorite handles to use on Amazon. They're just so cheap, but they get the job done, but they don't rotate. So this is an option. This just goes on the side here and mounts to your NATO rail, which is a nice little added grip for this system. But I just got this in the mail. Now, I don't know if I fully recommend this. This literally came in this morning because I've been looking for a handle for the rosette mount, and I also wanted something that rotated. It's also extremely expensive. This thing is like $130, which is crazy for a side handle. I mean, considering that I spent 300 bucks on a top handle, maybe it's not that crazy. So I'm gonna give this a try, see if I like it, but I'll leave a link in the description just in case you're like, oh, that's freaking sick. But yeah, this just attaches to the side of this rosette here. Handles specifically, make sure you tighten them down because that's gonna make a difference, promise. Let's go to our monitor. So for our monitor, again, Mofage comes into the play. This is the Mofage Magic Arm. This thing is absolutely powerful. I love this Magic Arm so much. It adds quite a bit of weight to the rig, but I think it's worth it. Okay, so this just attaches to the quarter mount adapters that are on the side here. So it just goes into this first quarter pin, and there are locking pins on the side. So to make sure this doesn't rotate, it just stays nice and firm in place. I originally considered getting like a 7-inch monitor and using SDI, but then Blackmagic announced the Pyxis monitor, and the fact that this is powered and delivers video through the USB-C cable just made it a no-brainer. And I still consider getting the small HD because honestly, like it's a great monitor, but it's small. It's small, and it's nice that it comes with this sun hood, you know, it's a cool feature, but like it's not the best that I've used. And I like having the 7-inch monitor, and so I may go back to the 7-inch, but the fact that it's an all-in-one USB-C cable is just really hard to turn down. And we'll get it nice and locked down. Okay, so as far as the USB-C cable, when you buy the monitor, it doesn't come with a USB-C cable, by the way. This is a USB-C cable from XLCS Designs, I wanna say. It's just a short cable that just goes exactly from the monitor, and it's a locking USB-C cable, so it attaches to the back of the monitor here, and this just locks in place. So that's important because you don't want your USB-C cable, you know, coming undone. And both of the USB-C ports on the Blackmagic Pyxis are locking, so this attaches to the front USB-C port. Let's put some cable management bits in first. These are pretty cheap and affordable. We're just going to attach these to the back of our rig here so that we can have a little bit of cable management. I like it to look nice. I like it to look, you know, nice and built. Now, before I get into the rest of the rig build, I did want to give a quick shout out to Motion VFX for sponsoring this video. I've been using Motion VFX for a couple of years now, and the intro to this video I actually created using some assets from Motion VFX that I got for DaVinci Resolve. I've also been using it throughout this video for transitions, callouts, animations, and lower thirds. Now, this is the only system that I've been able to find that's actually a drag and drop system for DaVinci Resolve, but they also have plugins for Final Cut and the Adobe Suite. But I've been a huge fan of Motion VFX for years. I still use them in all my editing workflow, and I highly recommend checking it out. So thanks again to Motion VFX for sponsoring this video. Let's get back into the rig build. So I've got two different options for focus on this camera rig. One is a wireless option, and I've been using the Tilta Nucleus Nano 2. Now, if I don't want wireless and I'm just doing follow focus, this is the one that I've been using. It's fine. There are definitely way better options out there. This is a follow focus from SmallRig, and this just slides right onto your 15mm rails. And then that is what I use as my side handle for the left side of my camera when I'm operating. So I have my follow focus on this side, and then I have my grip on this side, which that's really nice. I'm really liking that. And that's basically for more of my simple, compact rigs, is I'll use something like that. But let's say that I want, you know, wireless video. Let's say that I have an AC and I can pull focus wirelessly. So let's go ahead and move this manual focus wheel out. And the first thing that I do is attach the focus motor. This thing is small, it's tiny, it's got two USB-C ports on the back to provide power. So we're gonna be using a USB-C cable to power this bad boy. So remember that 15mm rod to NATO adapter that we put on here before we did the top handle? Well, we're just gonna slide this right in there. Make sure that we reach. Then we'll put our focus motor right here. And I like to mount it this way. I feel like it works just fine. Now, I would mount it on the 15mm rails that are on the bottom here, because again, putting these to use would be great, right? Problem is, it doesn't really, like, it barely reaches. It doesn't make me feel super confident, but I found this to be a little bit better solution. It's a little bit better cable management, but I could definitely go either way. For now, I'm just gonna put it on this top rail right here, and we'll throw our power of this bad boy with this USB-C cable. So we're gonna use our little cable management clips here, run that USB-C cable right through, and then it's gonna come through the back of here, and it'll go into the USB-C port on the side of our Tilta battery adapter. And then as far as video transmission goes, this is what I've been using so far. I've really been liking this. It works great. Problem is the freaking power switch is broken on it. And so it powers on as soon as you give it power. You know, it works just fine. But I've got this little cold shoe to like 1/4 inch here. You can buy these from SmallRig. I'll leave one linked in the description. And then this is another reason that we have that SSD plate on the side here from Tilta. That's because we are going to attach this cold shoe adapter here to the cold shoe slide. I'm definitely going to get a SmallRig or Tilta or something version of this, because this doesn't lock in place super well and I have to tighten it constantly. So I don't recommend the Portkeys one at all. It's just one I had lying around, but it keeps the wireless transmitter right there on the side and you can rotate it. As far as power cable goes, this is one from Amazon. It's nice and affordable. It's a little D-tap to DC, locking DC power adapter, and it's right angles. So we're gonna do the SDI cable. This is one from Condor Blue. This is not 12G SDI. This is just a standard SDI cable. But yeah, we'll just attach that to, and then I'll just run it like that. And now we can throw our power cable on, and then we can power it all up. D-tap on this opposite side, and then I'm using a little bongo tie to kind of manage it. All right, let's talk about media. Obviously, we had that SSD port on the side. That is totally fine. A lot of times when I'm doing longer recordings, I will record to an SSD, but when I'm not using an SSD, and typically this is when I'm doing more narrative stuff or commercial stuff, I will use CF Express Type B cards. And these are ones from Delkin Devices. These are 512 gigabytes each, and they just go right in the side here. They're also pretty affordable too. Otherwise, if I'm recording to an SSD, I do use this short cable. It's a right angle to a straight angle, and this is a nice fast cable. It's gonna give me the read speeds that I need. Let's go ahead and throw our matte box on. Now, this is the same matte box from my Sony camera rig build. I'm gonna take the flag off. I like this one because you got 3 different slots for 4x5, but you just use this little donut ring adapter. This is a 77 millimeter, so it just attaches to the front of the lens here. And then sometimes I put teleprompters on the front of my lenses. So I do have this little 15 millimeter rod support. Makes things feel a little bit more secure, and that just slides onto your 15 millimeter rails. Then we're ready for our matte box. So we'll just throw our matte box on there, make sure it's level. All right, so this is the rig build. Now let's get to how to power this thing. I've been using small rig batteries for years. I've purchased several of them. This is a new one that's a collaboration. You've got 2 D-tap ports on the side. Now I will say these things are bougie. They're expensive. These are like 300 bucks a piece. They're 99 watt-hour batteries. They've got durability to them. They're rugged, they're tough. They have a super unnecessary LED screen on the front to give you, you know, how much time you have left on your camera and percentage and all that stuff. But these have been awesome. I've been using them for about a month now on all my projects. You also have Type C, 2 Type Cs, Type A port, and 2 DC ports there, 8 volt and 12 volt. These batteries are freaking sick. So thank you, Small Rig, for sending this over to me. I think I can get about 3 hours to power this entire rig off of 1 battery. This just powers right on the back and we are operational. But yeah, this video was really meant to just be a little bit of inspiration for you guys. For anyone that owns a Pyxis rig out there, people have been asking me about it. I've been teasing this thing on other videos and in short forms and stuff like that. And people have been asking, where's the rig build? Where's the rig? Break it down. So anyway, hopefully this was satisfying enough for you as far as a camera rig build. As I'm using this thing, all the updates are gonna be on my social media, on my YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on them when they come out. But of course, let me know what you guys think of this rig build in the comments. Would you have done something differently? Is there pieces that you would have changed? Or maybe you would have done a different, you know, side handle or a different matte box? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I always look forward to chatting and having some good conversation about cameras. And again, thank you Motion VFX for sponsoring this video. Make sure to check them out. There is a link in the description. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, then maybe watch this video next, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell button so you never miss out on new young filmmaker content. Good luck filmmaking.